Hey guys, I want to specially welcome you to another episode of Stories. And I'd like to apologize. Last week we were not able to air any episode of Story, and that's because we were in our camp meeting and we did not want to do anything that, will disturb the order of the flow. All right, I've missed you guys and I hope you've missed me too. And today we are here with a very, very interesting story. Particularly it's the story of redemption and how far God can go to save a man. And this story is quite particular because this one came home, all right? And so Seto right here is my personal social media manager, so meaning that he sees all other stories. And today, the man who is working behind the scene is now in front of the camera to share his own story. Good to have you in studio.
Thank you so much, sir.
So, I know I'm privy to some part of the story, but I'd like you to start, like I always say, the most convenient spot. But I want you to start from the story of what happened before you were born and how you came into being, and then from there into your journey.
Okay, so I guess I would say that before I was born,
Yes.
we had my mom and dad. They got married in the UK, and they had girls. All the children were girls.
How many girls?
In total, they are 5 girls, and I'm the only boy.
5 girls.
Yes, sir. So after the second born, they had another child, but that one died before the third girl.
Yeah.
Then the fourth one.
Yeah.
So after the fourth one, it became a problem for my mom in the family, because my dad's family didn't want her to stay because they couldn't give her the whole typical mentality of when you have a boy, that's the whole.
So the family said she's not going to. The marriage will be interrupted if she doesn't give birth to a boy.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. So she prayed. She started praying. Going to churches, going to the mountain, and at some point, she started praying to God that, okay, if you can just give me just one son, one child who is a boy, I would give him back to you. And so shortly after that, she got pregnant again.
Yeah.
And she found out it was a boy, but
Wow.
She didn't tell my dad. She didn't tell anyone. So, journey down the line, my father's family started threatening her that they are bringing another woman for my dad who will be able to bear him male children.
The family will bring another woman.
Yes.
He doesn't have to be interested. They'll bring the person.
They'll bring a person. And he was even just...
And by their own programming, they know how to program male.
Yes, I think so. So, bringing at close to the time of delivery, they started bringing different women for him to choose from.
And they knew your mom was pregnant.
They knew she was pregnant, but everybody just believed
Another girl.
It's another girl. There is no cause for anything. So they just went on with the process. So on the day I was going to be born was when they came to do a final kind of arrangement where he would just get engaged to the woman right there and there, and she will move into the house.
The day you were to be born?
Yes, sir. So during the whole arrangement, my dad didn't follow my mom to the hospital because I think he also believed that maybe I should pick another wife, or maybe was just going ahead with the entire plan according to his family. So my mom went to the hospital herself, drove herself to the hospital, was in the hospital, gave birth to the child, gave birth to me. And I think on him hearing that it was a boy that was born, he left the entire arrangements that was going on in the house and ran to the hospital. So my own birth was what cancelled out the entire she losing her space in the home. So that was how she stayed.
But looking at the science of it, the concept of giving birth to either male or female is not the woman's issue. She only supplies X chromosomes. It's man that supplies XY.
Yes.
And because, in Africa, we just believe that it's the woman that, that it's the woman's fault. Meanwhile, it is what you are giving that is being incubated. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yes. So that's it. That's the story around
how you were born.
Yes. So the whole dedication, I used to tell her, when I found out this story, I was a bit upset with her because the kind of life I lived did not show that I was actually dedicated to God.
She told God, if you give me a boy,
yes,
I will dedicate him to you.
I'll give him back to you.
You said the life you lived.
Yes.
Didn't show you were dedicated to God.
No. So I lived, although she used to take me to, when she was going to pray, she used to attend different prayer programs on different mountains, Rioke, Dole, Eriho. She used to take me along. There are times in the middle of the night, around 12:01, we are still journeying in the night. There was one time I remember when we were in the bush and we were just going, a very thick jungle. We were just strolling with phone torchlight. So it was one of the security guards in that mountain that found us and then just took us to, because we were literally lost, took us to the step of the mountain where we just climbed up. So, but when I began to grow up, I entered secondary school, I started mixing with friends. I didn't know all these things. So I didn't live the life of someone who is dedicated to God. I lived a very nonchalant life. I lived a life not caring about anything, not intentional about anything. But I was a very curious person.
Yeah.
I wanted to know. So the curiosity was what made me start reading books beyond my age. I started reading as little as when I was 3. I was reading encyclopedia. I was reading books on astronomy, astrology. I exposed myself to all that. But one book I did not read is the Bible. So, because it seemed very boring, and then I was always seeing King James,
yeah.
So I didn't understand the whole thing. So, in school, I was curious. I was just the average, nonchalant guy. Just let's go to school. But I just knew that there was something wrong. There was something missing. But then I just kept on with life, just going around. So 2015, after I finished secondary school, 2011. Then I went to Federal School of Statistics in Ibadan. Then 2015, after Federal School of Statistics, 2015 was when, 2015 January was when I followed my friend to a brothel. He told me that I wanted to go to a brothel, that we should just go and hang out. And I said, okay, no problem. Meanwhile, before that time, I already got exposed to porn.
Yeah.
I got exposed it happened very easy. Every phone I laid my hands on.
You know your way around the internet.
I hadn't even known my way around the internet so much, but all I could do at that point in time was know how to download these WAP-Trick games, Prince of Persia and all that. So, but I always found my way around anybody's phone I could get my hands on. I found porn in their videos on their phone.
Wow.
Every single person. If I meet 10 people, I will find porn in 9 out of 10. It was just something, looking back at it, it looked like it was just something very intentional.
And it looked like it was pursuing you everywhere you were going.
Yes, sir.
Until you got into it.
Till I got into it. So I got into it, although I had not started masturbating at the time. I got into it, it was very strong. Everything, that was what I just wanted to do, was watch porn. I would bury myself in it. So it took away a chunk of my time. So times when I used for studying, I used to watch it.
And to socialize.
Exactly. So, but then I was still studying, I was still the curious person. So back to 2015, when I followed my friend to a brothel, and he showed me, okay, this is what happens, this is what happens. Okay, then I met with one of the ladies there, and we went in and did whatever. So that was how my first exposure to sex was. I can't remember how old I was now.
You went to a brothel?
Yes, sir.
To meet prostitutes?
Yes, sir.
You knew that's what you were going to do?
I knew that was what I was going to do, but I was very indifferent about it. Just, okay, let's see.
Let's see how it goes.
Let's see how it goes.
And that's your friend?
Yes.
He's used to that?
He's used to it.
That was your first time?
That was my own first time.
Were you in school then?
I just finished my ND in Federal School of Statistics. So I was still just floating around trying to get an admission into a university. That was before I got admission into Unilag. So that was how it started for me. So, and then I was always going. After he took me there, I was always going.
Yourself?
So, yes, myself. I didn't even go with him anymore. So I was always going. So it's the point where I knew at least in different locations in Ibadan, I knew different brothels. And I was always frequent there whenever I get any money.
To think of the fact that I lived in Ibadan. It's like when people are looking for something, they know where it is. If somebody who smokes weed now gets to an environment, if you give the person 2 minutes, he will know where his colleagues are. He knows how to get it.
Yes.
And that was how it was for you?
Yes. That's how it was for me. That was the first exposure.
The prostitutes you were carrying, were they not older than you?
Some of them were. Some of them were younger.
Younger, like what age?
18, 19.
And already doing prostitution?
Yes.
And those that were older, like what age then?
30, 35.
And you were in your 20s?
I was in my early 20s.
And they knew that you were younger?
They knew I was younger. I had not had grown any beards or anything. I was fresh out of secondary school.
How much were you paying them?
500 naira, 1,000. I think the highest was 1,500. Just for the pleasure of it.
By the way, attached to this video is a link for a new YouTube channel, which is Femi Lazarus Plus. Now, there are stories coming, and they will be brutal. We have stories of drug addict, a prostitute. Many of them are still in the process, and they are looking for a way out. And these stories will be as real as it is and as raw as it is, in the sense that there is a world that needs to know about this life that many young people are getting themselves into. So don't click on the YouTube channel for Femi Lazarus Plus if you don't have the spine to take serious stories. We don't want to mix them with these particular stories.
Right.
So those girls were taking 1,500 naira, 1,500, 1,000 naira.
1,000 naira.
That's as cheap as it is.
Yes.
Your parents,
Yes.
did they know that the man promised unto God was now paying prostitute?
No. My mom, at the time, they were separated already, so my mom was...
The separation, did it contribute to what aided them not to know?
Maybe, because
Did your mom later find out?
she still does not know.
So if she sees this story, this should be the first time she's finding out
Yes, this will be the first time.
that her son once carried prostitute.
Yes.
I just want to ask this question to check how far you went. If you're going to count number of prostitutes you carried, it's going to be up to like how many?
I don't think there's a number. Because I was very frequent with it.
Frequent, like
Yes.
like weekly? Or monthly?
Sometimes like weekly, like 3, 4, 5 times a week. I'll be there. I spend most of my time there. Not like I just sit with them. I just come do whenever I get any amount of money. That's like the first thing I want to do. I just want to go
You know,
and do it.
patronizing prostitutes can be addicting.
Yes.
One time I was in Okoko. Then I was trying to get the bus years back. Then a guy ran towards me and was sweating. And I was like, guy, how far? I said, I did. He said, I beg, you know where babes, they chill? I said, my brother, if you look to, because where I was close to the market.
Okay.
It was around the market. I said, if you look to my right, you saw babes where they chill. So I was actually pointing to the woman selling pepper, selling fish and all that. The guy said, my dad, you did that. I said, well done, bro, anything for you now. The guy came back, he said, bro, how far now? Don't be this kind of babe. He said, I mean babe. I said, my brother, what kind of babe are you talking about? I said, I mean babe. I said, oh, you mean?
The other one.
He said, yeah. I said, bro, I don't know. I've been thinking that this babe when they sell pepper, you want chill. Right? So that I mean, I can't get that picture off my head. You know, that's one very addicting practice that people don't know about.
Yes, it was. It was very addictive.
Was there any other thing you were doing apart from carrying prostitutes?
So at this time, before I got into Unilag,
you had bad experience carrying prostitutes? Any bad experience? Maybe they beat you up, you didn't pay?
No, actually.
You were always paying?
In fact, some of them even wanted me to date them because they liked me that much. Yeah. Most of them were
more like be your girlfriend.
Yes.
Then when you come to see your girlfriend, somebody else is inside.
Somebody else is
counseling
like that. Okay, so it was a lot.
They wanted you to date them?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
They preferred spending time with me.
Were you preaching to them?
Preaching. I didn't even know what that meant at the time. I didn't know what it meant.
So apart from carrying them, what else were you doing in terms of vices around that season?
Nothing. I was not a drinking person because of drinking. I didn't want to start feeling inconvenient with or having a full stomach because I tried it once and it backfired. I didn't like it. But that was what I was doing. So late 2015 was when I got into Unilag for Social Development Administration program.
Yeah.
And when I got into Unilag, 2015, when I got into Unilag was when so I got there, I got my own space. There was no space in the campus.
Hostel.
So I got my own space. I got my own everything. I had a TV, I had games in my house. Like comfortable life, more living like.
Were you into internet fraud?
I was not, but I had a lot of people who came around me that were into it. So because I was comfortable, I had money. I mean, my mom started getting some jobs that made her have access to some level of money that made me comfortable. So getting to school, I met different people. It was a different life completely from Ibadan.
Yeah.
It was the kind of people that were there. I stayed at Shomolu. Shomolu. Okay. So the kind of people that were there, it was very strange and it was easy. Then I met a guy who were friends. We met at Ibadan before I went, but he was the one that told me that, do you know that you do not have to pay to have sex with a woman? So I asked him, I said, okay, how do I do this? So then he now showed me how to speak to a woman, to make sure you are not telling her that you want to have sex with her, but you make her want it from you. So she will be the one to initiate the process.
Fellow students.
Some fellow students, some outside.
Ah. How were you studying, doing all this?
I studied. It was, although I wasn't a very excellent student, but I managed. So, like, getting to school, I didn't have problems. I didn't have issues with money or anything.
Does your wife know all this story?
Yes, she does. Yes, she's very much aware. So, getting to school, I had already known how to speak to ladies. I didn't have to go to a brothel anymore. But from time to time, I still found myself going to a brothel just in case I'm not able to speak to a lady that can, just find. And then there were ladies or girls now in school that when they found out that I was staying alone, I was living the life that, they wanted some of their male friends to have. They could come around, no mommy, or I was not in the hostel. They come around freely, so they wanted to spend more time with me. So that way was another way I was able to,
get into many
of those things. So shortly after I got to Lagos was when I got introduced to smoking. It was not any peer pressure. I didn't see anybody, and I was like, no. I just, let's try this.
What did you try?
I tried, the first one I took was weed.
You've smoked weed before?
Yes, sir.
Nobody looks like it.
So the first one I took was weed, and then it seemed better. Like, it seemed like nice. So
nice compared to what? Compared to oxygen or
compared to, it seemed the way you feel, and it made me hungry when, it made me have appetite to eat. So I started taking that. Then it graduated to hybrid, something they call hybrid.
Educate me. What's that?
I'm not sure how to explain it, but it's called a hybrid. It's called trees. Hybrid trees. So
trees like cinnamon or what?
I'm not sure if that's what they call it now, but this was.
It's made from what?
It's made from leaf from a plant. So it is broken. I don't know how to explain it now, but they will break it in such a way that it will become almost like powder, but not like powder. So we roll it in a
Rizla.
Yes.
That sounds like tongues. But if you are there, you know what we are talking about.
Roll it in there, and
there was a guy that I know that said it's dead now. It doesn't like using Rizla to smoke. He said he's addicted to using Bible to smoke. So and he doesn't just use Bible leaflets to smoke. It's Book of Psalms. Said that's where his inspiration comes from.
That's another level.
It's deception. It's Book of Psalms. His mom's Bible will be tearing the Psalms and molding.
Wow.
So this hybrid, what was it compared to the weed?
The experience was higher. It kicks in faster, and the highness was, I think it lasted longer. It was way better. It felt way better. So then after hybrid, Journey to Loud. That's another higher version. Then Journey to Colorado, that's another higher version.
Wait now. This Colorado one that you mentioned, I've seen people take it online and they'll just stand like this. Can be like that for 30 minutes or some 1 hour.
Yes.
It make you dance.
There's even one that makes you slow, because I didn't just do smoking. Along with the smoking, I also did pills. The blue pills.
That's one that they put on the lips, on the tongue.
Yes, Refnol. 512, 412, I can't remember. Then there is one white one. Then there is I think Molly or something. Around those things, we were able to get it. It was something that we spent a lot of money on. So,
and you were on campus then?
Yes, but I never did it on campus. I was always in the house.
Did that make you violent anyway?
I was never a violent person, so it just so it was not just the sex thing anymore. It was now
Being high.
being high.
And some of you and the girls to get high sometimes together.
Yeah, we get high before we have sex. We get high. It makes them want to. The drugs even does the work. I don't have to do any talk.
Really?
So they just take it and just get right to it. But maybe sometimes sleep first, wake up, eat, then do it, then back to eating. So it got so bad that if I didn't smoke, I won't be able to eat. Yes.
To do breakfast?
Even breakfast, lunch, dinner.
So to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you need to first enter into his gate with Igbo first.
Yes. Yes, sir. So it was that bad. It was that bad. It was that bad.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yes, sir. Yes. It was that bad.
Were you going to church then?
I didn't know that there was even anything called campus fellowship at the time. I believed Unilag did not have such a thing. Because
you didn't know they...
I never experienced it. I never saw them around. Maybe because of where I was hanging though. Unilag is not a very big place. It's not as big as UI.
Yeah.
So, but I really didn't spend so much time in the campus like that. After classes, I'm out of the place because standing to talk to and start doing whatnot in the school was just a problem for me. So after all this, down the line, there's this girl. I met her and she told me that, okay, I met her on the street. I went to buy something, I think. And she invited me over for Bible study on a Sunday. So I did want to attend, but again, the curiosity kicked in. I wanted to know Bible study on a Sunday. Okay, I used to see Jehovah's Witness come and meet me. And then I would just, but I wanted, okay, let's see how it goes. Plus, because it was a girl that invited me, I had plans.
For her?
Maybe we could get into something. But at the end of the day, it was maybe we could get into something, just maybe friends with benefits or so. So inviting me to the Bible study, I attended the Bible study, heard the preaching. It didn't really do. I mean, I wasn't really paying attention because I just wanted to speak to her. So we became friends, and it was that Bible study day that I knew that I can't do this with this kind of person. So I started trying to avoid her, but it was at that time, she even wanted to get closer. So she even told me she liked me, and I told her that
she went from winning your soul to liking you.
Yes. So I don't think the plan was to win my soul. Well, anyways, maybe. So she really liked me to the point where she just wanted to be around me at all times. And so I told her time and time again that she would even cry. I said, I can't do anything with you because of the kind of person or the kind of things that I do. I'm not interested in a relationship. Although I was in a relationship at the time. But I didn't want to be in a relationship at the time. Didn't mean a lot, because even despite the fact that I was in a relationship, I was still doing all those things outside with other ladies.
And the girl too surely must have been doing some things too.
Yes, she was. I found out later though that she was doing all those things. So fast forward to one day when I was bored. I was just bored. Like, there was nothing to do. I didn't have smoke, or there was no light. I was already out of school on break. And she was like, okay, will you follow me for vigil? And I said, vigil, that's one thing I hate going for the most. I do not attend vigils for any reason, because I don't like my day to be messed up. So, and she was like, okay, let's just
Same
go.
girl.
Same girl. She said, let's just go. I'll keep you busy. We'll talk. And then, and I said, okay, if I go, I'm hungry. Promise me you'll buy me suya and plantain. So she said, okay, no problem. She will buy it for me. And she will even add drink, so that we should just go. Getting there, she didn't even buy the suya for me eventually. Getting to the church, I slept a bit, then they started the vigil. And I was even saying in my head that, why am I in this place? But then I was a very curious person. I wanted to know how like a normal service
Should be.
So the pastor did an altar call and said, the first thing he did was call people out for communion. It was the end of the month, February 28th, 2017. He did altar call, call for communion. And people were coming out. He now said something very strange that I've never heard in any setting before. He said, if you want to partake of this communion, but you have not given your life to Christ, come out. That was an opportunity for me because the reason why I went out was because I wanted to take the communion. When I was very little, when my dad would take us to church, every time I go out when they're taking communion, they would just pat my head because I was a small child.
And since then, you've not taken communion?
I've never tasted it. So when he said that you take communion, it was like, oh wow, I can taste this thing.
Wow.
So I went to the back of the altar, the stage, gave my life to Christ.
Did you actually give your life to Christ that day, or you just wanted bread and wine?
I actually just wanted bread and wine, but I said the words. And maybe somewhere I believed, but I was not aware. So, and because the Bible says that if you believe in your heart, you confess with your mouth, then you are saved. Yes. So, I then took the communion, and after the service, it didn't seem like a lot. After the service, I just told her, like a threat. I said, do not ever tell anybody what I did.
That you took the communion?
That I took the communion, even gave my life to Christ. So,
why?
It was embarrassing
to
say that I followed
and you gave your life to
Christ. To church and I gave my life to Christ because they know me that I was not
like the big boy himself. You can't lose your steez.
I was not a very churchy person. It was kind of embarrassing amongst the people that I was like hanging with at the time. So getting home, it was in the morning. I just went to sleep and just went around with my normal activity. But something changed because down the line, I started withdrawing from
those things you were doing.
No, conversations that the gathering of these guys. I just
did you start attending church from that moment?
No, I didn't start attending church. I was still the normal person.
But you just found out that you could no longer fit into their gatherings again.
Something, it was just
felt
off. So I started withdrawing myself small. Sometimes they would come, I'll be inside the room, they'll be in the sitting room. And then I think my mom, I remember that my mom gave me one very small red Bible like that she read. So, and then I picked it up. I read a bit, but because the writing was very tiny and it was King James, I couldn't keep up. But I knew that something was happening. So, aside from what's it called? Not wanting to spend time with them anymore.
Yeah.
Something was changing. It was like I could no longer. I was starting to detest the smoking.
Wow.
So it got to it. I even stopped taking the pills and everything, and then the smoking. When I take it, I have bronchitis attack. I used to be bronchitis, but it stopped. So then every time I take it, I have bronchitis attack.
Your chest becomes tight?
Yes.
Whistling breath?
Yes, and I begin to cough and cough and cough. So that pulled me out of it. It was a gradual process, but it pulled me out of it. So, and I know that that's not normal. So, then I had issues with, after school, I had issues with my girlfriend. I had to come down to Ibadan and then started staying. So the breakup with my girlfriend led me to depression. This was 2017. I was depressed. Then it was during that depression phase that now I eventually now started masturbating.
Which you never did then?
Which I never did then. So the masturbation went on and went on and went on and went on. Depressed. I was literally, I think at some point, I was literally just living. I was literally just existing. I was not living because there was nothing for me again. I just felt everything is gone. Everything is, it's all, let's just be taking it one day at a time. So it was no longer smoking. It was no longer doing drugs. It was now masturbation. So going down, then I was in Ibadan, right? So one day like that, I think this was around August, I just told my sister in the evening, I said, can I follow you to church? I'm bored at home. I want to go to, let me just go to church. Meanwhile, her husband did not like me because of the kind of lifestyle I lived. So she was like, okay, if you can meet us around 7 a.m., we'll take you to church because we want to attend workers' meeting. You can follow us. Dress well. That morning, I even slept late. I didn't even have my bath. I just wore one white native like that, followed them to church. I met them at Mobile, Ring Road, and then followed them to church. Getting to church, it was Reverend G.F.Oyo.
Yeah.
That ministered that very day, that Sunday. So I don't remember the sermon itself, but that sermon or that Sunday was my first encounter with Jesus.
Wow.
As somebody who gave me peace. I experienced Philippians 4 verse 7 was my brother-in-law that explained it to me. A peace that surpasses all understanding. After all the depression, I felt peace, and I was just there, and I ensured that I basked in it. I was sitting, even after the service, I was just seated, and I just was excited for the first time. For the first time in my life, I felt that everything was going to be fine. But before, it was like a cloak that was wrapped around me. And that was how it began. 2017.
Wow.
Yeah. So after that, I started, I explained to him, my brother-in-law, and it was like a really amazing thing because I've never experienced it. In fact, at the time, I couldn't explain what happened to me, but I just knew that I found my place. So then I met, I think I attended another program. So my brother-in-law told me that I have to, because of all the things that I've been doing, I have to do something they call Season of Change. And God will do it. It's a 3-day program at the end of the month. So I did that. I started fasting for 3 days. So I started doing that. My first fasting, I can't forget. I fasted for 3 days, and on the second day, that's Saturday, I was very hungry.
Okay.
So I went to the bookshop where they sell stuff. I already paid for like 8 gala and 3 drink.
8 gala and what?
8 gala and 3 drink. 3 different drinks. 1 Fanta, 2 Coke.
Each for each day?
For just so that...
Shock absorber?
Yes. But I didn't take it. I waited till the Sunday afternoon after all the blessings and anointing from Reverend G.F.Oyo. So after that, I went to the bookshop. I took like... I'm not sure I even finished one. When my stomach was paining me because it was Coke I took first.
No good.
It was hurting, and I don't think I got myself for like another 2 days. But so that was like Season of Change. I started doing 3 days. My brother-in-law told me that Season of Change is a period of time where you purge yourself with praying and just allow yourself to separate yourself from everything that has happened previously. Yeah. So I did that for a year, but during that time was when I prayed in tongues for the first time. Nobody taught me how to pray in tongues.
Okay.
I just knew how to pray in tongues.
Okay.
It's just something that I blotted out. I started praying in tongues, and God helped me. I met Pastor Lawrence Oyo, Pastor Godswill Oyo, and then 2018, still doing the season of change, my brother-in-law forced me to go for a battle axe retreat.
Okay.
That was the first. Yes, but that was the first time I would ever see someone pray so long without any prayer point.
Yes. Okay. Hours.
So the first one we did 12 hours.
Yeah.
12 hours was something extraordinary to me. I was very tired, but then I knew that I fell into during the prayer, 12 hours prayer we call it the upper room.
Yeah.
I had a vision of a being who was like a being that had the night sky, the universe. He was reflecting the universe. So he sat down with me. I sat down like on a very high place where I was seeing red smoke. And so he was telling me some things, but when I came out of the vision, I could not remember what he was saying. So I went to meet Pastor Lawrence, and I explained to Pastor Lawrence that this is what happened. So he looked at me and was like, Kai, do you know the scripture, Joel? Is it Joel or Acts now? That speaking about red smoke on the sky. And
Joel chapter number 2. So you're going to, one of the signs of the point of Spirit said there's going to be a sign of smoke, fire, and blood.
Yes, something like that.
Yes, Joel 2.
Joel 2.
From 29 downwards.
He told me that, I said I've never heard of the scripture before. So he said, okay, wow, that's really interesting. So he now asked me that, do I remember what was said by the person that was speaking to me? I said, no, that I don't remember. So he asked me to go and pray for the spirit of might.
Yeah.
That spirit of might, it will help me retain information from the spirit realm. So I went and I prayed and still kept on praying. I had like several encounters with different, it was a lot. So after I came back from Battle Axe Retreat, which was like the place where I really learned how to pray. So I didn't want that experience to leave me. So then I now asked my brother-in-law to help me to, add in studying of the word. Wow. And so my brother-in-law told me that, okay, this is how you can do it. He bought me Kenneth E. Higgins books. Yeah. And he told me that, okay, instead of reading the scripture just like that or studying, use these books to be able to help you. To guide you. And the books were books that they are filled with scriptures. Yeah. So at every point when I get there, I see the scripture, I go there, check different translations. So doing that, I was doing that every day for 6 hours. Wow. And I was praying for 6 hours. So I do 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. Wow. And I do 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. in the evening. I did that for a while. But I got carried away again with cares and everything. But
with girls?
Cares of
the
cares of the world, because I needed to now find a path, in this world. So I think that's the entire salvation story. Wow. To make me who I am now. And
I think I saw you for the first time. Was it 2019?
2019 Battle Axe Retreat, yes, sir.
That was shortly after you got born again.
Yes.
You were on the keyboard?
Yes, sir. I played I Have It, the Power of the Holy Ghost.
Yeah.
That was the song I played for you doing your administration.
Wow. Yes, sir. Your story, number one, it shows that we can't be too dirty for God's love. He always returns seeking his own. I know why I like story like this is that someone who is watching us right now might be somewhere heading to where God brought you from. Because if you heard the story of someone and saw God's love then, you probably would not have gone that far.
Yes, very true, sir.
Was there a time that in course of maybe being, all those long prayers, you still struggle with the appetite to smoke or stuff like that?
Yes. But one thing that helped was the remembrance of how I felt after the entire experience.
Yeah.
I know that that's not, even if the urge came.
So this smoking thing, because of late I've been receiving so many mails and messages from well-meaning believers who are struggling with weed and all those stuff. Because sometimes we don't want to talk about these things in church,
Yes.
but it doesn't change the fact that people are going through it.
Yes.
I even know, I had a story of somebody, a man of God, who, please, under intense anointing or whatever, one of the things he had to combat is the urge to quickly smoke. So, sometimes devil plot is their subtle deceptions. And the goal is to anchor them around the person's life. That no matter the speed, once those things come, they can always pull you back.
Yes. Yes. I struggled with masturbation even after this for a while. But with prayer, I learned, Pastor Lawrence said, the reason why that is happening is because your fire is still not so much.
Wow. You need to generate more fire.
Generate more fire. The more time you spend. And I think you also shared is that you cannot, in the topic you talked about pornography,
Yeah.
you cannot, there's a level you get to that some things fall off naturally.
Yes.
Yes.
Everything that manifests in a person's life, they are also a reflection of the energy level.
Yes, sir.
If you go higher, you see more possibilities.
Yes.
If you
Does
begin
not
to
stay.
descend, huh?
It does not stay.
No, it
It
doesn't.
stays.
It doesn't stay. It doesn't stay. How does it feel now that you are living this life that your mom promised God that she would dedicate her child to God as a born-again Christian, serving God, compared to that life? What's the difference for you?
The difference is enormous. Because then I just believed, I was knowledgeable,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to, I didn't even consider marriage a thing
Wow.
at the time. I just wanted to live life,
Wow.
maybe have a baby mama,
Wow.
and just have money. But now, it's completely different because I'm married by the grace of God, and I'm chasing something bigger than myself, something more, not just money.
Yeah.
I'm chasing God.
Yeah.
I didn't have what to chase at the time. I even spent my time poring over different books on different gods of different races and religions. But all that changed when I gave my life to Christ, when I started praying. And so it now became, instead of looking at Greek gods, Roman gods, Egyptian gods, I started looking at God.
The God of the Bible.
The God of the Bible. I started looking at what interests me is what is the things that are around him, the angels, the cherubs and seraphs and all those things those are the things that piqued my interest. So and then another thing that helped me with the entire weed thing was I left the location where I used to do it.
Thank you for that. Because most times that's where the deception is. You want to do something right, but you hang around people whose life is against the life you want to live. You're trying to get yourself off something.
Yes.
But this is where you are, and this is the appetite of these people.
You're still seeing it.
Exactly. So there are many people who want to stop smoking, but they still save the contact of the person selling it.
Yes.
You understand? You get what I'm saying?
Yes,
the contact is saved. In fact, the WhatsApp contact is pinned. Like, even as they serve God, like, anytime, text message, guy, bring the stuff, So the environment.
Yes. I had to remove myself from that place, like, completely.
Amazing.
Completely. God helped. In fact, it wasn't even, it was a lot, but because I became someone who did not have anybody to reach out to.
Wow.
But I just knew that I can't stay with this one because these people are short-sighted, they are narrow-minded, they just want to do all this.
Do you still hear from some of them now?
Only one, but I don't talk to him anymore because when he sees that every time I speak to him, I want to invite him to church. Alpha, come to church.
He doesn't want that.
He's not interested. So
amazing. Your story is very touching. And again, my joy is the number of people that will see this and know that they've not gone too far for Christ to save. And I want to especially thank you for making our time to share your story with us today. That people can learn, parents can learn, young boys and girls can learn, and anyone who is going through any form of struggle can learn that it is actually possible to live a life where the Egyptian you saw yesterday, you can't see them anymore.
Yes.
There's no form of vice or something that is traceable, to your life again. And this is so good. Lastly, before I let you go, if there's someone who is connected online, watching us now, struggling either with prostitutes or prostitution, who is tired, and what will your counsel be?
Okay, I would say that if you're struggling with, all these things, my counsel would be, you might not necessarily know how to get into prayer. But the first thing that I know that I've learned over the years is that you have to have the will strong enough. You say you want to quit something, but like I said, you are still there.
The devil attacks that will.
Yes.
So
you just don't think about it too much. I want to get out of this thing. This thing hurts me when I do it. Just leave. If it is the prostitution, leave that. If it's a brothel, leave that place. Leave that brothel. If you are smoking, like I did, get out of that community of people. If you are struggling with masturbation, if you need to delete Instagram,
any platform,
or your social media or anything, get out of that place and you can buy a touch. At some point, I bought a touchlight phone.
My God.
Just so that I didn't want
to see his channel.
I didn't want to see all those things. I didn't want to. So I think that's the way, and then seek, counsel and find a way to just get into the place of prayer. Be
right community where they are praying and loving God.
Yes.
Because the same way being in the right environment where people are praying and loving God can impact a person's spiritual work. It's the same way being in an environment where they are sleeping with girls, prostitution, can also impact. Even if the fellow doesn't have appetite for it, the fellow begins to develop philia for it because of what they are doing in that environment.
And lastly, what I would say is make people know who you are now.
On time.
Yes. I'm not interested in doing this. It's different from I'm not sure I don't feel like doing it now. It's different from I am not doing this. This is not who I am anymore. So if the more you reinforce that, it helps.
The better for you.
Yes, it helps people outside, it helps you in as well.
Amazing.
And your identity begins to change.
Amazing. Yes. Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you
so much for sharing this story. It's so inspiring. Much more is touching. Many times when I sit, listening to people's story, it reassures me too of God's love. There's just this reassuring feeling that I have that God is love truly.
Yes, sir.
And we will never come running into his arms and say we are too dirty, for him to say. We want to really thank you. And everyone who is connected on this episode of Story, I don't want us to assume that people are not going through this stuff. And guess what? There are many people in church who are going through this stuff, struggling with different vices, drinking, pornography, masturbation, prostitution, patronizing prostitute, and all kind of things. And I believe locked here is a message that God's hand can reach anyone and they are not too far for him to reach. And I want to please appeal that like this so you can help the algorithm. If you have not subscribed on this YouTube channel, I want to do so now and then share this across board for everyone. You might not know who you are even helping. You might have someone who doesn't look like it, but yet struggling. I once went to a family to drop something I was sent to get to them, and I met father, mother, and 3 children around the dining table smoking weed. That's how far these things can go, and let's get this across. Let's help many young people out there. Once again, thank you for coming to this episode of Stories. I want to believe that you've been blessed. Drop comment in the comment section. We're going to read and we'll be glad to hear from you. It's always a joy, to hear from you. God bless you so much. I look forward to seeing you again. Don't forget, you can get a copy of my books, Sin Beyond Smokescreen, Scent of Water, Living the Supernatural Life, A Crowd That Wants More Things, Break Free, which is a book on addiction and how to come out of it. I can't wait to hear from you and seeing that you can get the books. You can get them from any part of the world that you're watching us from. We get it delivered to you, right to your doorstep. And you have it right there on the screen. There are contacts to call. Thank you to the cast and crew and everyone watching. See you again for another episode of Stories. They will come your way again. Bye-bye.